This video is excerpted from Earl Nightingale's writings, focusing on the power of perseverance and the importance of never giving up. I've always thought of myself as someone who bounces back easily. Writing a radio show every single day for 26 years, which adds up to around 9,000 shows, really shows what persistence is all about. Every single one of those shows kicked off with a blank page, and I had to fill it in, word by word. That's more than 6 million words, all typed out with care before each show was recorded and aired. It was tough, but I learned something important. Success doesn't happen overnight, and it definitely requires hard work. It's a gradual and thoughtful journey, taking it one step at a time. Still, I often feel a sense of humility when I consider those around me who show even greater perseverance than I do. My wife, Diana, is definitely one of those people. She's incredibly resilient and really shows what it means to keep going, no matter what challenges come her way. Sometimes, I feel like I'm still figuring things out. I've lost track of how many times her ability to keep going, even when things get tough, has inspired me. I've learned that persistence isn't just about hanging in there. It's about moving forward even when the road ahead seems tough. Success isn't a straight line. Success, in real life, isn't something that comes all tidy and wrapped up nicely. It's usually not just about one big breakthrough moment, even though that's what most people like to focus on. It's really just a bunch of little victories, bumps in the road, and challenges that slowly guide you to where you want to be. You know those movies where the hero, after a tough journey, digs deep to find that last bit of strength to tackle one final challenge? We've all seen them. Whether it's climbing over that last sand dune to discover an oasis or finding the guts for one last showdown, these moments really hit home for us. They represent what we all hope for in our own lives. Life isn't like a movie, and the challenges we encounter usually don't wrap up with a perfect ending. In real life, success usually depends on your knack for digging deep and finding that extra bit of energy, not just once, but time and time again. It's all about being ready to give it another shot, and if that doesn't pan out, to go for it once more. This determination, this unwillingness to give up is what sets apart those who reach their dreams from those who choose to settle for less. The unmatched strength of determination. Being determined is something you just can't replace. Once you've figured out your goal and feel good about the direction you're heading, there's really no substitute for just sticking with it and pushing through. When I decided to leave my comfy job at CBS in Chicago back in 1950 to kick off my own radio show on WGN, I had no idea how tough things were going to get. I wasn't really known in the Chicago market, or anywhere else for that matter. I had to start from the ground up. Every morning, after I finished writing my radio show for the next day, I head over to advertising agencies to pitch them on buying some airtime. My show, which was on for just 15 minutes in the afternoon, really struggled to find an audience. Potential sponsors really made me question my chances, so they mentioned that my show wasn't going to air during drive time. You know, those prime hours when most people are actually listening to the radio. People used to say that radio was on its way out, and they just didn't get why anyone would want to put money into it. I actually heard no so many times that it just became a normal part of my day. I didn't let that hold me back. Every day felt like a challenge to get through. I could have just thrown in the towel and gone back to a job that felt safer and more secure. There were plenty of times when that felt like the smarter choice. Honestly, why keep hitting my head against the wall when it feels like no one cares? But deep down, I just felt like I had to push through. That's the beauty of determination. It doesn't need cheers or approval from anyone. You really need to believe in yourself. As time went on, I started to really accept rejection. I got that it wasn't about my value or how great my show could be. It was just part of the journey. Every no just brought me one step closer to a yes. Every failure taught me something new, and I realized that if I just kept pushing forward, I would eventually make it happen. Transforming setbacks into motivation. It can be tough to feel down when things aren't turning out as you hoped, especially after you've really invested yourself in it. But you know, failure isn't really the enemy. Honestly, failure can be one of the best teachers we could ask for. Quitting is really the biggest foe we face. It's that point when you feel like the journey is just too tough, and you choose to head back instead of pushing on to where you wanted to go. One of the biggest lessons I've picked up in life is that failure isn't the end unless you let it be. We often see failure as the final destination, but it's actually just a stepping stone along the way. Whenever you stumble, there's always a lesson to pick up. You're making progress toward your goal, even if it doesn't seem like it right now. Let's talk about Sparky, a young boy who had a tough time in school. He didn't do so well in almost all his subjects in 8th grade. Back in high school, he didn't quite make the grade in physics, Latin, algebra, and English. He wasn't really into sports either. He got onto the school golf team, but ended up losing the biggest match of the year. Sparky really didn't fit in with the crowd. He never asked a girl out since he was worried about getting rejected. Sparky looked like he was headed for trouble, but there was one thing that really lit him up: drawing. Even though others didn't really boost his confidence, he had faith in his own talent. So after finishing high school, he decided to send his cartoons over to Walt Disney Studios. But they ended up rejecting him. Instead of throwing in the towel, Sparky decided to turn his experiences into a cartoon autobiography, crafting a character that mirrored his own childhood challenges. So, that character we're talking about is Charlie Brown. And Sparky? Well, that's actually Charles Schulz, the genius behind the Peanuts comic strip. Have you ever thought about what would have happened if Sparky had just thrown in the towel? What if he had thought that all those rejections and failures were just too hard to handle? People would really have missed out on one of the most cherished characters in history. Schultz's story really shows how sticking with it can lead to amazing things, even when it feels like everything is working against you. Keep at it, no matter what happens. One of the toughest things about going after a goal is staying committed, especially when it feels like everything around you is encouraging you to throw in the towel. When I kicked off my radio show, there were plenty of days when I felt like throwing in the towel, getting turned down by advertisers, not getting the recognition I hoped for, and the constant grind really took a toll on me. I just kept telling myself one simple thing: stick with it. Those 3 words hold a lot of power, don't they? They roll off the tongue, but putting them into practice is a whole different story. Stick with it means getting through the tough times, facing the fear, and overcoming the doubt. It's all about getting up each day and doing something, even when you're not really in the mood. It's all about taking it step by step, even when that finish line feels like it's miles away. Eventually, my determination started to show some results. My show started at 15 minutes a day, then it bumped up to 30 minutes and eventually stretched to an hour. I began to land some sponsors, and before I knew it, my program grew to include several time slots, even on television. But you know, none of that would have happened if I had just thrown in the towel when things got tough. Sticking it out when times get tough, people often think that success is just for those who are lucky or super talented, but that's not really the case. You know, the truth is that success really comes to those who keep pushing through tough times. It's for the ones who keep going, no matter how tough things get. Have you ever thought about some of the most successful people in history? They didn't come into the world with a promise of success. They dealt with challenges, bumps in the road, and disappointments just like anyone else. What sets them apart is that they just kept pushing forward while others gave up. They didn't allow a temporary setback to become a lasting failure. Think about Thomas Edison, who is often regarded as one of the greatest inventors ever. He famously remarked, "I have not failed. I just discovered 10,000 ways that aren't going to cut it." Edison saw failure as just a stepping stone, not the final destination. He viewed it as just another step along the way. His determination to keep going, even after so many setbacks, is what really brought about the invention of the light bulb, a game changer for the world. There are times in life when it feels like throwing in the towel is the simplest choice. Those are the moments that really shape who we are. It's pretty simple to keep pushing forward when everything's going smoothly, but our real character shows up when we hit some bumps in the road. In those moments, we can choose to give up and back away, or we can keep going and become stronger. Staying strong by keeping at it. Sticking with it doesn't just help you succeed. It also helps you bounce back stronger. Every time we get through a tough spot, we come out stronger on the other side. We build up our mental and emotional strength so we can tackle even bigger challenges down the road. Resilience is kind of like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. When you encounter tough times and choose to keep going, you're getting yourself ready to tackle whatever life sends your direction. The more you practice, the more you build your confidence in tackling challenges. Being resilient really helps you see things differently. After going through tough times and coming out on the other side, you start to see that most challenges don't last forever. They really aren't as tough as they might feel right now. This way of looking at things helps you keep your cool and stay focused even when things are a bit uncertain. The payoff for sticking with it. When you stick with something, the payoff isn't just about achieving your goals. It's also about the growth and transformation you experience along the way. Each time you tackle a challenge, you're shaping your character. You're turning into someone who can tackle challenges, keep their eyes on the prize, and doesn't throw in the towel easily. In the end, success isn't really about the awards or the cash. It's all about the journey, you know? It's really all about the person you grow into during the journey. The person who reaches their goals is different from the one who began the journey. They've really grown and changed, picking up some important lessons that will stick with them for life. That's what makes perseverance so powerful. It really changes you. It turns you into someone who can accomplish amazing things, not because the path was smooth, but because you kept pushing through when things got tough. Wrapping it up, perseverance isn't just something you learn. It's how you choose to live your life. It's what sets apart those who go after their dreams and those who choose to settle for something less. It's about having the drive to push forward, even when everything around you is telling you to quit. It's all about not seeing failure as the final destination, but instead viewing it as just another step on the journey. Ultimately, it's not the challenges we face that shape who we are, but rather our reactions to them. Success isn't about never failing. It's about never giving up. Hey, just remember, whatever challenges you're dealing with today, it's important to hang in there. Just keep it up. Just keep going. The reward waiting for you on the other side is totally worth it. Perseverance is more than just reaching your goals. It's about transforming into the type of person who can achieve those goals. That's definitely a success to aim for.